Ever heard of mental disorder, mental illness? What does a person go through with it? Come with us and let's learn more together. The book The Myth of Mental Illness was published in 1961 by a man named Thomas Szasz, who argued that mental illnesses are often unnecessarily diagnosed to justify the behavior of morally and socially deficient individuals. Some people still hold this view on mental illness, but over time, the majority of the public has come to understand what mental illness truly is. Although we have a better understanding of mental illness, many harmful myths still exist, which have adverse effects on the treatment of those with psychological disorders. Therefore, today we will discuss 5 harmful myths about mental illness. The first myth is that people with mental disorders are often violent. The UK newspaper, The Sun, published an article that stated more than 1,200 people had been killed by individuals with mental illnesses in England over the last 10 years. While the statistics are accurate, they omitted the fact that 97% of these killings were suicides. In reality, criminal behavior among individuals with mental illnesses is very low, and mentally ill individuals are usually those who have experienced or are experiencing domestic violence and sexual abuse. They often suffer from intense psychological reactions as victims. The second myth is that people can recover from mental illness if they truly want to. This is a popular myth, especially about people with depression and anxiety, that suggests that such individuals are oversensitive and can easily solve the problem. This is where phrases like "they just want attention" or "they enjoy feeling hopeless" come into play. Mental illnesses often have a genetic factor that affects predispositions and chemical imbalances that cannot be easily overcome using sheer willpower. It is even difficult to take the first step towards seeking help and muster the strength to even admit to yourself that you have a serious problem. Finding a therapist and going through a trial and error process requires a huge amount of time and is equally challenging. Some people even choose to struggle alone. Dealing with mental illness can be frightening, emotionally exhausting, and tedious. Having to gather oneself and fight while receiving the least amount of support you can get is quite hard. The third myth is that love and support are the absolute cure for mental illness. Therapists and doctors will always tell you that social support is a crucial factor in the recovery process, but it may not always be a reliable way to cure someone's mental illness. We have all seen a movie where a child with a serious behavior problem or a girl who has emotional outbursts is completely better by the end of the movie because someone inspired them with a sudden realization that they too can be loved. It is a touching concept, but if you expect this in real life, you will be completely disappointed. They might be afraid of rejection in socialization. Although it is great to have someone who helps and supports you in your fight, mentally ill individuals may find it challenging to even trust that at first. Expecting progress through social support alone can be counterproductive. The fourth myth is that medication is the only solution for mental illness. Medication can be effective in treating some mental illnesses, but it is not a panacea for all mental illnesses. Many mental illnesses require psychotherapy or a combination of medication and psychotherapy. Unfortunately, there is still a stigma surrounding medication for mental illnesses, which can prevent people from seeking the treatment they need. The fifth myth is that mental illness is a personal weakness or character flaw. This myth is extremely harmful because it suggests that people with mental illnesses are somehow less than others, and it can lead to feelings of shame, guilt, and low self-esteem. Mental illness is not a personal weakness or character flaw. It is a medical condition that requires treatment just like any other physical illness. In conclusion, these myths about mental illness can have negative effects on individuals suffering from mental illness. Therefore, we must research and study, as we can end up making someone suffer due to lack of information. Thank you for being here. If you find it interesting that someone you know learn about it, share it with them and remember to subscribe and activate the bell. We are posting videos every day about curiosities of our life. A big hug, see you later.